Hello, my name is Tim Lahili, and in this video we're going to be talking about review groups. This is going to be a long video. We're going to talk about a lot of elements of review groups, how to set them up, the different options you have for assigning documents, how to maintain the review groups as you get more data, different ways of labeling the documents or dividing them up, and ultimately tracking the productivity of the reviewers. I will do my best to divide this into logical chunks. So if you want to skip through it, hopefully you'll be able to do that and still get the content you want out of it. Like I said, it's quite an in-depth topic. There are a lot of different moving parts. We're going to do our best to try to really go from zero all the way through the topic, and so it's going to be a fairly long video, and I hope you'll bear with me. Anyway, let's hop into the tool and do it. All right, we're in Quincy right now. We really only have one case we care about, the demo case. It's basically got nothing in it, a few image recognition labels, but nothing other than that, and some standard data that we're going to pretend is data we need to review. Now, like I said, I want to do completely clean slate, so I'm going to start out by creating users. I'm going to pretend there aren't even users here. We won't use any of these guys. Let's create three reviewers. We'll do reviewer, let's do this, demo reviewer 1. And we'll just ignore that, and that'll give us a warning that we've given him the default ABC123 password, which is fine by us. Let's create another reviewer, demo reviewer 2. Save that. Again, we'll ignore that. And get our little error there and just ignore that and create one more. Demo reviewer 3. Now there's a reason I'm creating 3 because I'm going to have one be the standalone reviewer, the demo 1 reviewer, and I'm going to operate on demo reviewer 2 and demo reviewer 3 through groups, which is an important concept when dealing with review groups. So let's go in and create our review group. And we're just going to come here and do new, and we'll do demo review group, and we'll save that. And once it's saved, let's go add our 2 users. We're going to add demo 2 and demo 3. And let's add the demo case to that. Make sure that all holds. It did. And then let's come into demo 1 and add the demo case to this guy. All right, great. So now we have our 3 reviewers. This guy's got access to the demo case directly. These 2 have access to it through the demo review group. Now we need to set up roles. So let's come in here. And we're just going to create a new role. Let's ignore what we've got here. And we'll call it demo review role. All right, and we're going to keep things simple here. There are videos on creating roles, and it's quite a complex topic, but we're going to skip over all of that and just try to build what we need. All right, we're going to give this guy the filter. We're going to give him the grid. We're going to give him the viewer for sure, and let's give him tasking, and let's give him tagging. I think that's adequate for our demo. And widget filters, let's go ahead and give him everything and take a few things away. We don't care about production sets for this. Don't care about, well, we'll keep custodian. We don't have it. Well, we don't have any custodians. So, although you really would in a legal review, so I probably should leave that in, but it doesn't matter. We'll drop it out here. We don't care about KFF for this. We don't care about Cerberus. That's for volatile data executables, and the rest is pretty good. We'll drop out all the quick filters. The quick filters are these. Actions are where the sticky wickets lie. We got to make sure we get this right. Has to be able to view data. Must be able to see tags to do what we're trying to do here. Don't want label permissions. I shouldn't have clicked that. We want to be able to label objects. We want to be able to create labels. Actually, let's not even let them create labels. Let's let them run searches. View native, view text, view history. We're going to allow them to modify tasks and create tasks. And actually, let's just do modify tasks. They don't need to create. And then the most important one here is the restricted viewer. We must give them restricted viewer for this whole thing to work. A restricted viewer is a special action in Quincy. It ensures that a user can only see the documents that they have been assigned. If you don't give them this right, they'll be able to see every document in the case. If you give them this, they'll only be able to see that which you allow them to. And that is why, for what it's worth, is you must give them tags. If you don't give them tags, they won't be able to see anything because the tags are what govern what they can see. So just go and make sure you have those things clicked correctly. Columns, let's just give them the top bunch here. And we'll start them with the general one. And then let's give them all the basic viewers. We won't give them database. It's a little overkill. Let's give them metadata and status. All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and save that. Make sure it takes hold. It looks like it has. All right, and now let's go assign it to our various users. So this guy, we're going to assign it directly to him. So we're going to come here to roles, and we're going to remove this one, and we're going to do demo review role, and click on that, and that's perfect. And then for those other two that we're treating through groups, we're coming here to the group and adding that role again. And go ahead and save that. And let's hold on. Let's click back here and make sure we take off. Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure they didn't have the user 1001 role, which is a default role given to all people, but they don't. Given to all users, excuse me. Okay, so now where we are is we basically created all our users and we have assigned them the role we want. We've divided them into our two basic groups of an individual user and a group user, or two group users. So let's go about the task of assigning out documents. The first method we're going to use. The first method is going to be through the restricted viewer capability, and we're going to do it through labeling. So let's get out of admin. Let's go ahead and open up our demo case. Give it a second here to load. I'm going to open the filter widget, and I'm going to open the grid. And the first thing I need to do here is go ahead and create this special type of label called a permission. We do that by clicking here. If you remember from our creation of the roles, there is actually a permission related to this ability. You would never really give it to anyone other than an admin, but there is a permission here. So let's go ahead and click on this. And now we're selecting what users or what groups we want to create labels for. We're going to go ahead and create it for demo review group, and we're going to create it for demo reviewer 1. Those, remember, are our two review bunches, whatever we want to call it. Go ahead and click on that. It creates the special labels. And here we go. Now, anything I label with either of these tags will be visible by those respective, by anything I label with this tab will be viewable by demo review 1 user, and anything I label with this tag will be viewable by anyone in this group. So let's go ahead and do a first 100. We have our grid, it's size 100. We're going to tag the first 100 and we're going to give them to reviewer 1, and we're going to tag the second 100 and we're going to give them to this group. Obviously, that's a silly division mechanism, but it doesn't really matter for the sake of what we're doing here. Let's go ahead and click that and click Apply Label. And we can keep families together if we wanted. That would be a real common workflow. I'm not going to in this case. That would be really common. Okay, our labeling job has begun and it's finished probably. Let's go ahead and refresh and double check and look. They've all got that Demo Reviewer 1 label that we just assigned. Okay, now let's go to the second page. Let's remove our checkboxes here. We're going to go to the second page. We're going to apply checkboxes here, and then let's go ahead and label that with the other, with our second group. I'll go ahead and click on that and wait a second, if you will. Sort of count 1, 2, 3, and then refresh. And good, that's stuck also. So now if we refresh over here, we can see that our labels are good. Excuse me, there are 100 here and 100 there. So to verify that that worked for us, we're going to log out and log back in as a member of each of the two groups. So we'll log back in as Demo Reviewer 1, and then we'll log out again, and we'll log out back in as Demo Reviewer 2, who is a member of the group. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to skip the logging in process. So it's going to be Flash, and we'll be logged in as Demo Reviewer 1. All right, through the magic of Camtasia, we're now logged in as Demo Reviewer 1. Let's go ahead and select our case and open it. And we're going to see that only those 100 items are available to us. All we can see is the 100 items that we had. So now let's go do that again for Demo Reviewer 2, who's a member of the group, just to prove that that all worked for us. Okay, again, through the magic of Camtasia, here we are in Demo Reviewer 2, and we're going to again select our case and again log into that case, and we should see once again 100 records, only a different 100 records because it's the second 100 we assigned. So we can see that it's a different, you can see the object ID starts at 001 as they should, and we can only see 100. So we have created a restricted viewer and a restricted group, and we have assigned respective documents to that. Since we're trying to go through a complete video, if you will, of how we would deal with reviewing groups, we're now going to go create a coding panel. We're going to give permissions to that and sort of set it up a little bit about how we would treat these groups in terms of preparing them to review documents. But if you are only interested in figuring out how to assign documents, we've accomplished that via one of the multiple methods that we have available to us in Quincy. So let's log back out, log back in as the administrator, and set up a coding panel. Okay, we're back in as the administrator. We want to set up a coding panel because obviously we want our reviewers to be able to review documents. We're going to log into our demo case again. We're going to go to the coding panel. Let's create just a really simple, we'll create a couple labels, an issue code, a demo column. We'll do a couple things like that, and that'll be all. So we've already got an issue called demo. Let me show you how you can create another issue. Just right click and do new, and then we want to edit this name, so we're just going to click here and we'll do issue 1. All right, easy peasy, issue 1 was made. Let's create a label here. Right click here, do new again. We want a label, not a folder. So we'll do, and here's our label, and we'll do label 1 and save that. And then finally, let's create a coding custom column so that they can code into that, and we'll do new. This is quite complex. There are videos on it. We're just going to keep it simple for now. We're going to create a text one, and we'll do, let's pretend this is the author field we want them to fill out. So go ahead and create that. And there we are. Those are the three things we want to add to the coding panel we're going to create. So let's just double click on the issue, double click on the label, and double click on the author. That easy. They're all now part of our coding panel. Give ourselves a little bit more real estate. Let's call this demo review. Let's select the users we want to grant it to. Oh, excuse me. We have to have given our users access to this case. Coding panels don't yet work on groups. I will make sure I get that request in, but let's just for right now stick with the demo reviewer. So we'll just go ahead and do like that, and we'll go ahead and save that. And our panel is saved. Confirm our panel is saved. There it is. All right, let me come here and go ahead to my users and add both of these users to the case, the demo reviewer 3. Give them access to the demo case. Save that. And do the same for demo reviewer 2. And I will get the developers to make this work on groups, so you don't have to do this in future versions. But for right now, like I said, coding panels don't work on groups. So let's go back to our coding panel again. And let's go ahead and this time select all 3 of these. Make sure we still got it right. We still got the 3 things we want. We do. Go ahead and save that. All right, perfect. And let's just take a look at what it looks like. This is what our coding panel is going to look like, and I'm quite happy with that. So let's go ahead and close this. Oh, actually, one of the major reasons I wanted to set up a coding panel like this is because I wanted to talk to you about permissions. This comes up a lot and is quite a confusing topic when dealing with review groups. Even though I've created this coding panel and I've assigned it to the demo review, or I'm going to assign it to these 3 users, they won't be able to see labels or issues that I haven't actually explicitly permissioned them to see. So I'm going to go show you now how we permission these and make sure that our users can all see them. So let's click out of that. Let's go into the filter widget. This is necessary for permissioning. Let's refresh this. And come here and let's refresh this. Make sure everything is good. They are. All right, we're going to right click on this. Go into label issues and click on permissions. Permissions do obviously work on groups, so we're going to give this group permission to that label, but I'm not going to give reviewer 1 permission. I don't want to do that because I want to show you that they won't be able to see it. So I go ahead and save that, and now I come up to issues and I right click here, and again I do issue label permission. And let's go ahead and give this guy permission and this guy permission to this one, and we'll save that. And it's that easy. And now we're going to go ahead and close down and log back out and log into these cases as those review groups and just see that they have those coding panels available to them. All right, I've logged out, logged back in. Here we're in it as demo reviewer 1. Let's load our demo case again. This time we're going to load the grid and the coding panel. And you can see we're not burdened by all the complexity of the coding panel, and we just have access to our panel, and this is the demo reviewer 1, the one we did not give access to the label. And so you can see the issue and you can see the author, but no label. And that's exactly how we wanted it. And if we wanted to see how he coded stuff, he could go ahead and click this, and he could code it, and he could save and next and go and, here, I'll just show you how that works. Save, don't ask again, save, and it codes it. And then we wait a second, issue coding begun, and then we can, move on to the next object, however we want to code. So that's the coding panel. I'm going to log back in as the group user to show you that they see a slightly different coding panel. And then we're going to be sort of done with this section, and we're going to move on to other mechanisms by which we can divide up the groups among divide up the documents, among various reviewers. So let's log out and log back. Okay, we're in as our document reviewer 2. Let's go ahead and open our case and open our grid and open our coding panel. Give it a second to catch up with me here. And then let's go ahead and select our coding panel. And boom, see, this guy has access to everything. He's got access to the label and the issue, as well as the author. And he can go ahead and code against these. So that's that. Let's log back in as administrator, and now we've sort of done with this method. This is sort of a full explanation of how to assign documents using labels and create permission-based coding panels for the various reviewers. What we're going to talk about next is assigning documents through tasks. And then we're going to hit on the assigning documents through the auto-tagging widget. And then we've pretty much covered all the core topics of assigning documents, at least the initial assignment. Then I want to talk about updating document sets, and finally reviewing, monitoring reviewer performance. So let's hop out and hop back in as administrator. Okay, we're back in as the administrator, and let's talk about assigning documents to users through tasks. So to do that, let's open our case again. And let's open the grid, and then let's open the tasking widget. Okay, we've already assigned the first 200 records, so let's jump ahead to record 300. And let's assign all these documents. We're going to assign it to doc reviewer 1. So let's create a new task. We're going to say doc group 1, or let's call it like this, task 1. You can have spaces too, no worries. But task type, again, there's a whole video on tasking. I don't want to get bogged down in that. We've got these 100 checked, so let's go ahead and make sure it's the correct case. And here's one advantage of tasks. You can give it a due date. Let's give it the due date of the 15th, and we'll say impact is medium, progress is 0. Who do we want to assign it to? We're going to assign it to doc reviewer 1. And then let's go ahead and save that task. Now we've got the task saved, and let's come over here and add the documents to it. And we do that by, again, clicking on the task and coming here to objects. And since we've got them already selected, we can just go ahead and click the add, and all the 100 objects, count 100, get added to this task. And we can go ahead and make a note and say, please review documents fast. All right, and we go ahead and save that. And let's just make sure we got everything right. We'll click on this. It says nothing. We click back on this. It says please review documents fast. And we check our objects, and they are all there. And we are happy. All right, let's go ahead and create another task. We'll call it doc task 2. And we're going to go ahead and assign this to... Now, tasks also don't work by groups. Task works for individuals, but that's another feature I suspect we'll get in here relatively soon. So if by the time you arrive you see your groups here, fantastic. But we'll just assign this to doc reviewer 3. And we'll go ahead and save that. And let's open up this, and we'll go to the next page and select the next 100, and we're coming in here again. And this time we're clicking on doc task 2, and we're adding our objects to that. And let's go ahead and come to notes and edit again. And just type, please review documents. Forgive my spelling. Save. So now let's double check we did all that right. We've got this one, which has got document 200, 201, 203. This one, which has got 501, 507, basically a different set. And I think that's what we were going for. So we're in good position here. So let me log out and log in as these users, and remember we are talking about now doc reviewer 1 and doc reviewer 3. So here we go. All right, we're in as demo reviewer 1. Now notice I'm not even going to bother logging into a case, because with tasks you don't need to. I'm just going to open up the tasking widget. The only task I have access to is the one I was assigned. I'm going to open up the viewer so you guys can see how integrated this thing is. It's really pretty cool, I think. Select on my task. It says, please review documents fast. We go to the objects, and here are the objects I was assigned. Sometimes you're missing the scroll bar. If you are, just click right there, and it'll appear. And you can see there are a whole bunch of objects assigned, count 100. And if I click on an object, it will pop up in the viewer. Now, I don't know what object this is. It could be totally garbage because we've just been randomly selecting it. So I don't have high hopes for it actually rendering. But the point is, you can see the viewer is reacting. Maybe we can find one. There we go. We've got one that's a graphic. This might be some random file. I don't know. Anyway, you can see that they can then click through these documents, and you can even type file comments. That's another super cool thing about doing document assignment through tasking, is they see this document, they can come in here and say, this is important, and they can save that, and boom, this is important. And they can do that through all of these. And so if you want to check progress against documents assigned through tasking, you can literally come in here and see which ones are commented. It's quite effective. So let me log back out, log back in as the other reviewer, which was doc reviewer 3, and make sure he can see a different task. And then we'll move on to assigning documents through the auto tagging widget. All right, we're in as our demo reviewer 3 now. Let's go ahead and open up tasking. And let's wait, and there you go. Doc task 2, remember the other guy could see doc task 1. This guy can see doc task 2. And again, we'll see that documents are attached, and he is good to go reviewing if he wants to. There you go. And again, we're missing our scroll bar, so we just hit here, and boom, the scroll bar's back. So that is assigning documents through tasking. I think this is one of the cooler ways to do it, but maybe I'm just geeking out. You might prefer it, the other mechanisms. Anyway, let's log back out as in as administrator and now talk about assigning documents through the auto tagging widget. Okay, back in as administrator again. Let's go into the auto tagging widget. Now let's combine two topics because we wanted to talk about assigning documents through the auto tagging widget as well as updating or keeping these review sets live as you get more data. So let's pretend now that the remaining 500 documents, let's go into our grid, let's open our demo case, and we've assigned the first 500 documents. So let's pretend that the next 500 documents are from a new production, some new amount of data that's been produced into the case. Let's go ahead and make this 500. So all this 500, these have all been assigned, right? So we're going to go to the next page, and all these 500 we're saying are new. And so let's create a label here and call new production or new docs. And let's go ahead and create that and wait for our tag to creating tag created. Give it a second, then open up here and see new docs, bingo. And let's label this. But don't ask. Again, you keep families together, which is often important when doing review sets. Now we just tagged 500 documents. This type of operation, or operations this large or even larger, you're probably going to end up tagging 10,000 documents. You need to wait. You need to make sure that job gets done before you rush it. There are a number of ways to check that a job is getting done. Labeling job is a job, so you can come in here to the job wizard. I always like to just visually see it, and it tags them in order. So I literally just scroll down to the bottom, and if it's tagged, which it is, I'm good. So let's close that, and now let's go into the auto tagging widget, and we're going to go to document assignment. There's a whole video on this one tab, so please refer to that if I've glossed over any details here and you need some more review or more input on it. I select the demo case, I click OK. I'm coming into our labels. I'm going to do the new docs. I want to assign out those documents. The users I care about are these 3 users. It's going to give me the option of evenly among users, or I can divide it up by user. I'm just going to do evenly among users. And operations, I'm both going to permission and I'm going to create a task, so you can kind of see it both ways. Since I'm creating a task, it's going to ask me for a due date. Let's do the 30th and put a comment. Second batch, and go ahead and run it. Again, we're assigning out not a meaningless number of, interesting. We did not create permission tags for the users in the groups, and since we're now assigning them documents independently, we need to do that. So let's come in here and right-click here and do permissions again. And this time we're just going to add these guys. There we go. And go back to the auto tagging widget and just run it again. This time it worked. When you assign tasks, you have to give it at least 10 seconds because there are a whole bunch of rigmarole it needs to go through to get it to work. You can see it's still creating the tasks. With labels, it's a little bit faster, but you're still, in this case, assigned 500 documents, so it can take a little bit. But I suspect we're good at this point. So let's go and check our labels and our tasks. Coming into the filter widget, let's go ahead and refresh. Permissions, you can see that these users have now been assigned. Remember, the doc reviewer already had 100 assigned, so he's gotten an extra 167. This guy's gotten 167, and this guy's gotten 166 because obviously it didn't break up perfectly among them. So they were correctly assigned to these users. And then let's come in and see if our tasks were created. Bingo, perfect. Doc reviewer 1 task, reviewer 2, reviewer 3. And page one. So if we click on this one, let's just randomly click on this one and make sure those documents are assigned. There you go. Perfect. So this is both a mechanism to update your case as you get new documents, as well as assign documents through the auto tagging function. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is, well, actually, no, let me just say one other thing is, of course, you could have assigned documents, the additional documents via just labeling. Anytime I want, I can give anyone access to any document just by coming in here and clicking on, this is the label that gives demo reviewer 3 access to a document. If I apply that label, he will have access to these documents. So that's another way to update documents or review groups as you get more documents. All right, now let's talk about the last key topic, which is reviewing performance or progress against a review set. Well, we talked about tasking, how you can do that very visually. You can just sort of come and look. You can insist on certain comments, and then you can come and look at who has accomplished comments. You can all agree on progress in terms of percentages. And so you can use those to monitor. But there are other ways as well. Let's talk about user progress. First of all, let's close this. We don't need this anymore. You can see you can generate summary reports too, a good way to visually look at what documents have been assigned out. But again, there are videos on all this stuff. So let's just look at user progress. So first, let's select our demo case. Now let's select our various users. Demo reviewer 1, reviewer 3, and reviewer 2. Okay, this is a lot to take in, so please bear with me. It's also, I think, very compelling functionality. I know I'm tooting our own horns here, and I apologize for that, but let me tell you what this shows you. First of all, it's reporting on case 1. That's the one we chose. That's the demo case. This reviewer has 267 documents assigned to them. This one 167, this one 166. Only this reviewer has viewed any of the documents, and that person has only viewed 2. And those were the 2 we clicked on through the task, in fact. Remember, one was a picture of a bottle of wine, and one didn't, in fact, render. Whether it renders or not, it's dictated as viewed, because at least they attempted to. Now, this is really cool, and I really like it quite a lot. It shows that the labels that were applied to these documents. And the reason this is cool is it allows you to say, okay, listen, guys, we are going to task, or we are going to apply these 3 or 4 labels, label 1, label 2. We had label 1, issue 1, and that column. And we can simply come in here and say, oh, he applied label 1 to 10 documents and issue 1 to 15 documents. And we can see that, and we can say not only did they apply that many labels, but they've viewed this many documents. And so we can get a sense for really what progress they've made and how much time they've spent on it. So let's look at one other cool feature here. So let's look at one other cool feature, not here, another sort of good way to monitor. So we're seeing how much they're progressing against viewing documents and assigning labels. But we can also tell how much time they're spending doing work. So let's click on logging. Again, there are videos on logging and all that kind of stuff. And let's go here to case logs. And let's select the case. Demo case, and we'll look at everything and the users we want, our 3 favorite users. Oops. And go ahead and click. So what is this telling me? This tells me how many actions these cumulative 3 users performed. Now that may sort of sound like a mouthful and not be all that helpful, but in fact, if you have a large enough period of time, it becomes really powerful. We can tell, let's say, I wanted to know what demo user 1 was doing. I can tell on this day that guy logged in, and you can see this is by minute, so these charts aren't that helpful. But when you're doing it by day, when you've done it across months, you can say what days they were in, how much activity they performed when they were in, and you can marry that up against how many documents they labeled and how much they viewed, and ultimately get a good sense for their productivity. You can take a look at another way to accomplish that same basic information. Again, select user here. We'll do demo user 1, demo case. Let's select the date range. And this will tell you number of hours worked by month, by case. Of course, we've effectively spent no time in it at all, so no hours were worked, and the charts are all meaningless. But you have basically really 3 very good ways of monitoring what's going on by user or by activity. You've got this activity summary, you've got the case logs, and you have the user progress. So that's it. That's really all I had to show you. I know this is an overwhelming video, and hopefully it wasn't too much, and hopefully you were able to skip ahead on the parts you weren't interested in. But I wanted to do the whole topic justice, and it's such sort of a critical core workflow for using the tool effectively for legal review or any large-scale review. Anyway, that's all I had for you, and hope that was helpful. Thank you very much.